live to shoot another science vessel. So Flash is actually on the defensive a little bit. He's got troops out on the field, but all the siege tanks are just sieged up at his base and, you know, waiting for an attack. And there are some... I'm sorry, guys. I almost want to stop and recast this later, but I also, you know, I hate doing that because now that I've started, I know what's going to happen for the first part of the game. So I don't want to do that because then I'll be like, oh, and this is going to happen. And I hate, you know, it feels deceptive when you actually have already seen the game. But yeah, there's a lot of science vessels, a lot of siege tanks, another S starting vehicle, and protecting. It looks like Flash is just going to go in for the long haul. He's taken about half the map. I think he's maybe one base down from half. And he's doing a lot of harassment, but he's noticed his opponent's going for mostly Zerglings, so he's leaving siege tanks to defend. I have not seen more Guardians since the initial kind of failed attack of 3. I have to say, that was a pretty failed attack. If you're going to go Guardians, man. Make like 12 of the things. You know, don't make 3. You know, Guardians are one of those units, kind of like, kind of like Ultralisks, where if you just make 2 or 3 of them, they're not very good. They will die. They will die horribly. But if you make, you know, a, you know, crash of Ultralisks, they'll do very well. They'll do very, very well. And then with the scouting Zergling says, "Rawr." And the little Zergling patrol. They're all shooting at the Defiler. Zerglings are out kind of at the side saying, "We are Zerglings!" And it looks like he was able to disrupt mining at one of the expansions. That's about the 3 o'clock expansion, I guess. It's always a good thing if you can disrupt mining, obviously. It's a better thing if you can destroy the base altogether, but at least you can pull, if you can kill, basically here's how it works. Forcing them to pull SCVs is good. Killing the SCVs is better, because not only do you disrupt mining for longer, you force them to waste minerals on remaking the SCVs. Killing the whole expansion is best, because then you shut down mining at that location for an extended period. If you leave the command center up, yeah, they have to rebuild the SCVs, but they can start mining as soon as the SCVs are done. And here comes some more Guardians. Right after I said he wasn't using Guardians anymore, he says, "I'm gonna prove you wrong." Guardians are always kind of interesting and kind of difficult to use at the same time, because they're so slow you really need to morph them out in the field, but then they're also vulnerable wherever you morph them. It doesn't look like Flash is aware that they're coming, so Action's a little lucky in that, because here come the Guardians. And again, that's sort of a failed attack there. Not failed, but you've got a ridge right there. Use it. Why are you... And there are Science Vessels. Science Vessels spell doom for both Mutalisk and Guardians. So, not the best thing in the world. And there's a Mutalisk. Mutalisk says, "Rah!" That's probably why he really wasn't going heavy Guardian before, because Flash has such a, you know, float of Science Vessel that it's not effective to go Guardian, because they can just irradiate everything. Generally speaking, you want to save Irradiate for Defilers. When you have like 12, you can go ahead and use Irradiate on a couple other things. Obviously, if I ever see him Irradiate a Zergling, I'm going to say he's showing off. But, you know. So we have, it does look like Action has more of the map than Flash, but that's also what we'd expect. He's a Zerg player, he needs more than half, I mean, I won't say more than half, but he needs to be about 1 to 2 bases up on the Terran. Depending on where we are in the game. When the Terran has like 6 bases, he needs to be 2 up. When the Terran has 1 base, he does not need to have 3 bases in order to compete. That would be ridiculous. Ridiculous and not at all cool. So, right now there's still right, I've got to say, this is a much closer game. I mean, before, last game I was just sort of like, yeah, you know, Flash going to go in, kill whoever they send against him, and then we'll go to the deathmatch. But no, this is a much closer game than I was anticipating. So, or at least a much closer game than I was projecting. I kind of anticipated it would be a reasonably close game, because whenever I was, you know, converting this, and making it into a usable format. I noticed the game was as long as the game is. I'm not going to like ruin how long it is because we're only how far are we? Only about 26 minutes in, so I don't want to say this is an hour-long game. It's not, by the way. It could be longer or shorter than an hour, but it's not an hour-long game. But yeah, I saw how long the game was, so I knew it would be a little bit intense. But I do have to say, I thought Flash was going to do something crazy or mess around or something. But no, it's just that Action is playing really well, actually. Talented player, actually. I'm so conceited. It's okay, though. Mimic. That was a Roadrunner noise in honor of this map. And I also have to say, Action is doing a very good job of, you know, responding to fire. There have been very few defilers that died without getting a final swarm up. And final swarms really do, they make the Terran just stop and wait for the dang swarm to go away. So, usually you'll see, kind of like this, where the science vessel screens and is supposed to defy, or is supposed to eradicate the defiler, but Flash kind of decided not to. He's like, I'm just going to scout. Hey, you plagued me, and here he comes again. And this time it's not in the greatest position, because those Guardians are a ways away from the battle. You usually want to, I mean, it's tough. You want to morph them near the edge of the battle, but you also want to get them far enough away that the opponent doesn't know they're right at the edge of the battle. So, if your opponent sees Guardian sacks, or what are those called? Guardian cocoons or something? If your opponent sees those, then they'll just, you know, send a force down there, get some wraiths, and kill them. So you want to catch them a little bit by surprise. I'm not going to say the Guardians are a unit that has to be used surprisingly, that if your opponent sees it coming, they'll just fail. But they kind of are. Kind of. And now he's flying his Guardians up. Okay, now he's attacking. I didn't quite know what he was doing. It was weird. It was like he was bypassing a base. Maybe he was going for a different base. I didn't know why he would do that. And he's focus firing on. It looks like he's. Okay, they're all dead. Looks like he's focus firing on turrets for a second there, for a reason I could not figure out. You know, typically turrets are not nearly as dangerous to Guardians as Marines are. Actually, by nearly, I mean they're not dangerous at all, because turrets can't move. Must target units. Action. So, I will say, Action, you know, does not see a lot of Flash. He kind of knows where the stuff is, and here's Flash. And Flash also doesn't have incredible amounts of scouting on Action, but he does have, he seems to know about all the bases. I didn't see a lot of places where Action had a base that Flash didn't already know about, but there are a few. I think there's one. So honestly, given movie setup, I bet Flash kind of suspects there's one there. I give Flash credit. He's the best Terran in the world. He darn well should be able to figure out, you know, probability of expanding. I can figure that out. Basically, any thought I have, I know is clear to Flash about 3 times. And he has, you know, chosen not to do it for whatever reason that I don't understand, because I'm not as good as Flash. But yeah, I've got to say, this has been a surprisingly stalematy game. Normally, by this point in the game, we see, you know, a push happening, you know, one player is getting slowly pushed back. Right now, they're both on both feet. I like to use the analogy that, you know, you're getting pushed back, you've got one leg taken out, you know, and so all you got to do is lean. And Flash may be trying to do that now, but so far, both players are standing on both legs. They're doing pretty well. Neither one can really, I mean, I will say Flash has been more adamant about trying to get in there and, you know, kill things. But, honestly, and that's a dead siege tank. I don't know why you unsieged all of them. That seemed a little redundant. You could have just unsieged the one that was getting attacked, or the 2 that were getting attacked. But, oh well. It was a quick, you said, you know what, I need it done quickly. Actually, I guess that's why it was, you know, to stop and select them would have taken a few seconds, maybe gotten another shot off, and really they weren't doing anything yet. So it's not like they could actually do a lot of damage. Siege tanks can do a little bit of damage under Swarm, by the way, because even though their attack is ranged, and so Swarm nullifies it, the splash still happens. So, if you have a single Zergling under Swarm and a Siege Tank hits it, nothing will happen. But if you have a couple of Zerglings under Swarm and a Siege Tank hits it, the actual target won't take damage, but all the ones nearby will. So, Siege Tanks are a little bit effective against Dark Swarm, at least more so than Marines. Marines never do anything. That did not look like a very happy face on Action's part. Action was... I think Action may be starting to lose this game. He hasn't attacked in a really long time, and Flash is hitting him at several places in the map. I don't see any, like, you know, push force from Flash. I still see just little smatterings of Marines. So I don't... I mean, like I say, Action's in trouble, but I won't say he's losing, because it's just Flash can never bring a real force to bear. Both of them are playing extremely defensively, which is a little unusual. I don't really know why they're doing that. And there was another yawn that hopefully you guys didn't hear. I'm yawning really quietly, but I'm having to yawn more and more because, even though I knew how long this game was, I didn't quite think about, you know, the logistics of casting a game that was this long. Because I'm bad.